Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Clint. I'm Mystic Valley Designs. I do custom airbrushing on model horses. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be working on a Breyer model called Huckleberry Bay. Today we're going to be turning this horse into a fantasy model, and this model will be painted pretty much in a blue color scheme, and he will look like a tiger. He'll have tiger stripes on him. You know how tigers are normally an orangish brownish color with black stripes and a white underbelly. It'll be that type of color scheme, only in blue. So he'll have various shades of blue along his back and sides, tiger stripes on black stripes on the sides, and then the undercarriage will be sort of a whitish color. So anyway, let's get started. And I'm going to fire up my air compressor right now, get some paints ready. So hang on tight. Welcome back. I've got a airbrush here that is a clone of an Iwata. Came from China. I paid about $20 off of it on AliExpress. We'll just see how it works out or how it turns out. I've used it a couple of times so far. It appears all the parts are interchangeable with Iwata, but I can tell just simply from the fit and finish of how things are made, it's not an Iwata, that's for sure. But for 20 bucks, we'll see what it's like. So on this Huckleberry Bay, the first thing we're going to do is put a Viridian blue, which is sort of a sky blue turquoise type of color on it. I'm using acrylics today. So we're going to just simply put some blue down the back of this horse. I'm based here in Columbia City, Indiana, northern Indiana. If you've ever heard of Fort Wayne, Indiana, I am just to the west of there a few miles. And I've been doing this for about 30 years, modifying horses. It's its own little cottage industry, which is kind of neat. So that's the first color, a Viridian turquoise type of color. Huckleberry Bay does not stand. He only has two legs down on the ground, so he won't stand up by himself. So he needs a base or support to stand on. So give me a moment. I'm going to change the color in this, and I'll be right back with you. One moment. Okay, we're going to hit this with a heat gun now to dry up that phthalocyanine blue just a little bit. The heat gun just speeds things up so much. It's just a tremendous help to have a heat gun in your studio. Got to be careful with it though, because you can boil paint. Look at a tiger. They sort of follow the contour of the body, and they're sort of jagged. So that's kind of the pattern we're going for. They could almost look like lightning bolts, so to speak. Now we're going to darken up around the eyes. Here's what we're looking like so far. See how the comment I made about lightning bolts? If you squint your eyes hard enough, they sort of look like lightning bolts. Now we're on to the next side. Now we're going to darken up the center stripe there. Some more black into the tail. Some more black into the mane. Oh, I forgot something. We got to do the tips of the ears. I'm not sure if tigers have black on the tips of their ears, but it makes the horse models look better, in my opinion. There. We are pretty much done now with this. there's a little bit more to do to it. I've got to do the hooves and the eyes and the muzzle. We'll put a pink feline muzzle on them. So stay tuned for that. It'll come up in a moment. Okay, my model has dried. I've cleaned out my airbrush. Here's what it looks like so far. I just love these color combinations. So the next thing we're going to do is put on some eyes. That'll be, I'll show you how I do that. It'll be, first of all, just simply a white base, and then some green and yellow, followed by a few drops of black. So let's get our colors all lined up here. I'll get my paintbrush. There we go. Now the eyes are completely black. I've shot those with my airbrush to darken the area around him. So right now we're going to give him some glowing yellowish green eyes. So to start this off, we'll just simply paint the entire eyeball with white. It'll give me a white base. Nothing too fancy so far. Okay, we're good to go on that. Let's grab a heat gun here, dry that off. The next color I put on will be yellow. There we go, get rid of the heat gun. Now the yellow I'm going to use is kind of unique. Let me grab that, as well as the green. Fluorescent. Let me grab a different paintbrush, one that's even smaller yet. This one's a 5.0. Grab some glow-in-the-dark yellow. We're going to put a large dot in the center of that white. There. This is what it looks like so far. Starting to look a little more menacing now, isn't it? Let me grab a heat gun. We'll dry that. Next color we'll put on will be fluorescent green, glow in the dark. Again, we're going to put a slightly smaller dot in the middle of that yellow. There we go. Let's dry this for a moment. Next color we need is black to make the pupil of the eye. Oh, here we go. Now the pupil that I make on my tiger stripe models is not a round pupil. It's more of a V shape like this, almost like a serpent or a serpentine venomous snake, that type of shape. Hope we can see that. Let's dry that. Then the very final thing we'll do is we'll take a toothpick, spin my tray around. We'll take a toothpick, dip it in white, and get just the tiniest, smallest dot possible, and put a little tiny highlight inside that black pupil. How's that look? Pretty cool, huh? Now we're on to the muzzle. Let's do him in pink. Gotta get him down there. I'm getting too many colors here. There we go. Back to a slightly larger brush. This is a number 0. And we're going to give him he's got a nose obviously shaped like a horse, but we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt to make it look slightly like a feline nose. While that's drying, we're going to take a number 50 brush, the very small one that I did the eyes with, dab it in black. We're going to give him claws to separate his pads up here. There we go. There, can you see what we did to the hooves? Same thing on the back. Now, underneath, we're going to give him little bean toes like you would see on a kitty cat. And we'll hit that with a heat gun. Let that dry for several minutes. Believe it or not, my model, if it stands up, is actually finished. The next thing to do is clear coat the model. For that, I'll use a rattle can to do that. I'll have to let this dry for about 24 hours. I've got the paint on there kind of thick, and although I've hit it with a heat gun, the acrylic paint is still not completely bonded and cured yet. It's dry to the touch, but I don't think it's dry enough yet. It's still off-gassing, and the water is evaporating, and those molecules are binding, and that'll take a few hours. So I'll let this sit overnight. And but anyway, thank you for joining me. My name is Clint. I'm Mystic Valley Designs. I do custom model airbrushing on model horses, and today we've done a blue fantasy tiger. Take care and stay tuned. Bye now.